I went to my high school reunion and ended up having a great conversation with someone that I found very annoying in high school. I was resistant to going to the event at all, and that one interaction made it worth it. Smiley face. I went to a very religious school and was deeply religious at the beginning. I stopped believing senior year but told no one, and barely kept in touch for several years after. A bunch of us who weren't particularly close in HS ended up meeting together after we graduated. One of them was afraid to tell me they were living with their boyfriend because they were worried I'd take it badly. I felt so bad because I was such a religious blowhard in high school, but we all had a good laugh about how none of us are religious anymore. We ended up bonding over all the crazy shit we were taught in high school, like medically incorrect sex ed, for example. Oddly motivating. It is. I will now go put a 9-year-old in the hospital so he hates me instead of himself in the future. It's easy for us to comprehend that someone could dislike a version of ourselves that no longer exists. But I sometimes really struggle to believe these awful people I met in high school turned into nice people. I was shitty from 11 to 16. Now I'm not, and I look back at this as the worst years of my life. I was a pile of garbage teenager. I'm 45 and 95% of sleepless thoughts now are of what I did at 16 to 18. I struggle to get over it. I'm not that bad, but I know I was a shit. Sometimes we grow. I hate the me from like a week ago. Does that mean that my growth is exponential? It just means you need a longer runway to take off than most. If you don't look back at your past self and say, "Man, I was an idiot," then you are not growing as a person. What if I feel like more of an idiot now than I did back then? I was mature for my age, but then I stagnated and my age continued, and now I'm less mature than I should be for my age. I mean, yeah, the way I look at it is, I dislike the person they were, and since I no longer live there, we'll probably never find out if I like or dislike the persons they became. Overall, yeah, I think people change, and should be given a second chance in most cases, but don't feel the need to go hundreds of miles out of my way to give them. Never forget how a person made you feel. I had a bully in school that would torment me a few times a week. It wasn't anything horrible, just name-calling. I was raised to see things from the other person's perspective. I knew he had a rough home life. Lost 2 sisters to cancer at a young age, and his mother was an alcoholic. Some 20 years later he is driving for a delivery service and happens to recognize me. It took me a moment to remember him. His first words were to apologize to me on how he treated me. I knew he was genuine because he started tearing up. I told him I forgave him years ago because we were kids and kids do stupid things. We talked about growing up in broken homes and how our lives are now. He's married, has 2 kids and is doing great. We hugged and joked around about shared memories from school. He sighed a deep sigh and thanked me. The strangest thing is since that day I've never saw him again. Life is mysterious. Be well, my friend. Cool story. Must have meant a lot to him. I'm not sure what I'd do if I met the person who bullied me, but I'm sure it'd help if they acknowledge it themselves, like yours did. I can't imagine mine even remembers. My childhood bully once frequented the pharmacy I worked at. I definitely took some enjoyment out of his wife telling me she and the kids need a new address, and then the next week he showed up with severe anxiety meds. As someone who was also bullied daily in school, I can feel your joy in my own heart. I'd hope so, but I'm not that lucky. In fact, some of those people peaked when they were that age, and yearn for those days. Most of the time, kids that are assholes grow up to be adults who are bigger assholes. Finally, someone speaks the truth. Ran into a bully as an adult. No shot, she tried to bully me. It was so weird. 9 times out of 10 weary. Doubt. I dislike myself because I used to be a manipulative little shit. But I had some pretty awful influencers, so I guess I hate them too. We are a product of our environment. I grew up around a lot of domestic abuse. Wanna guess what happened in my first serious relationship? Although I regret the hell out of those years, I wouldn't be the man I am today without my fall from grace. The man who views the world at 50 the same as he did at 20 has wasted 30 years of his life. Muhammad Ali. Wow, good one. I love quotes like that. Nah, they're still the same asshole as always. I just met them at our 20th HS reunion. Yeah, for real. Buddy of mine has a sister-in-law that's cousins with the biggest bag o' shit from high school. Just talked with her a week or two ago at his place. She confirmed. Still huge piece of shit. Most the family thinks so too. Only difference is now he's married and shitty to his wife and kids. Some people change, sure, but I'd argue most continue to be assholes. I graduated 33 years ago. Every once in a while I wonder if the asshole who bullied me in high school is still an asshole. Not that I am at all motivated to find out. Conversely, you may now like the kid when you're an adult. I'm 35. Most people who were assholes then are still assholes now. I'm not sure why, but I've been thinking of my middle school bullies often. Even at 32, I'm still angry about it. I'm an adult, so I'm mildly embarrassed that I still can't seem to get over it. One has reached out to apologize. The other has not. I'm not sure why I expect them to. I guess I feel entitled to it. I hope she realizes how awful she was, and I also hope that she has grown as a person and a mother since then. I'm sure she has. Maybe she doesn't remember my name. For what it's worth, I'm still irrationally resentful of my childhood bullies. It feels really dumb for a 30-yo to get bent out of shape about it, but it's not like the damage they did just goes away, especially when it happened at such a formative time. And the fact that from the outside looking in I'm expected to just be over it by now feels like they won twice since nobody did anything about it back then either. They can still eat a bowl of dicks though. This a great shower thought. I look back at myself as a teenager and hate myself. I wasn't a bad person. Not the type to get into trouble. I just cringe at my past self. I did some real cringy stuff on Facebook like most people do when they first join at a young age. I am a completely different person than I was in high school. I was quite a sensitive kid and let the smallest things bother me too much, and now I am improving every day in this way. I am much more open-minded now and less judgy now. I make a conscious decision every day to not be as judgmental as my dad is. I don't want to end up like that. Self-improvement is a big part of who I am, and I would encourage everyone to make it a big part of them too. The world would be a better place. But think about the bullies you work with now. It might not be as blatant and as accepted, hopefully, but the nasty, spiteful people are still there. I agree it's best not to just assume someone is an asshole because they were 10 plus years ago, but the world is still full of assholes. Every 2 to 3 years I have a new version of me that dislikes the previous one. That's my toxic trait. I had a girl who was very nasty to me in HS apologize at our 15-year reunion. Unprompted, too. Was about to walk away when small talk reached its limit, and she said, "Hey, I want to apologize for being mean after you and ______ broke up." It was completely uncalled for. Not to make excuses, but I was diagnosed with depression around then. My parents had split, and I lashed out at anyone I could find the reason to. I'm embarrassed to this day about who I was back then. Changed my opinion of her completely. We all, for whatever underlying reason, are capable of cruelty. Takes a lot of courage to admit and own up to it. Emo. I don't give a rat's ass if my bullies grew to be better people. I still wish them to die of pancreatic cancer. Helpful.